How's it going, friends? Germany held elections today in two of their 16 federal states. Now, both of these were states of the former West Germany. One is Bayern or Bavaria. The other is Hessen or Hesse. Now, the current ruling coalition of Germany nationally is the Social Democrats, the SPD, along with their coalition partners, the Green Party and the FDP. The first big takeaway of this election was it was a kick to the balls to the ruling coalition, to the current government of Germany. All three of these parties all lost seats in both of these state elections. There's no way for them to spin this in any kind of positive way. They look really bad right now. The second big takeaway is the AfD, Alternative für Deutschland, has not only recovered in West Germany, but now they're bigger than ever in West Germany. So here's the election results for Hesse. Now, first place is the CDU, the Christian Democrats. On a national level, it's basically left-wing neoconservative. Picture the absolutely worst people in the American Republican Party, your John McCain's, your Mitt Romney's, your Lindsey Graham's. That's the same exact kind of people that run the CDU. Now, on the state level, you have CDU leaders that still campaign as conservative on the state level, but on the national level, it's a left-wing open borders party that's been moved dramatically to the left during the past 20 years. Now, they did benefit greatly because they're not part of the current ruling coalition. So the current ruling coalition of Hesse was the Christian Democrats and the left-wing Green Party. And it's probably going to stay that way. But the Green Party, along with the Social Democrats, the FDP, and Die Linke, which is the rebranded former East German Communist Party, where they all lost a bunch of support. The CDU went way up, and the AfD went way up. The AfD is the only German conservative party operating nationwide. It's just a fact. Because no one can honestly claim that the CDU on a national level is still a conservative party. Of course, the Lügenpresse, the fake news, will make that claim, but they're lying. Essentially, the AfD is exactly what the CDU was 20 years ago. Basically no difference in what this party was 20 years ago, yet the national leaders of the CDU call the AfD far-right extremists. At any rate, during the COVID-19 lockdown in 2020, polls showed that support for the AfD in West Germany really shriveled up to almost nothing. If you believe all these polls, it was really bad. Basically, people in West Germany rallied around the establishment parties, which is basically one big uniparty. And then there was a few state elections in some former West German states in 2021 and 2022 where AfD did absolutely terrible. In August of 2022, there was a state election in Lower Saxony where they got 11%, which was almost double what they had received in the previous state election in Lower Saxony. So that was the first sign of an AfD recovery in Western Germany after this big slump during 2020. They got a solid second place, 18.5%. Now, the results aren't 100% final, so these numbers could change a little bit, but they should not change very much. I believe this is the highest percentage that they've ever received in a state election in a former West German state. They've gotten higher percentages in former East German states, but not former West German states. If I'm wrong, post a comment below, but I think this is the absolute highest percentage ever in a former West German state. Now, I saved Bavaria for last because there's a lot more twists and turns and nuances, starting with the fact that they don't have the CDU. They have their own local version of the Christian Democrats called the CSU, the Christian Social Union. This is the only German state out of all 16 that has their own local version of the Christian Democrats. And historically, they've been more conservative than the National Christian Democrats. In fact, as recently as 2018, when I first started making these YouTube videos, the media in Europe was calling the CSU a borderline far-right party. At the time, I think the leader's name was Seehofer, and he was pretty good, but then he started to cuck, and the party has moved pretty far to the left in just the past few years. So they've been catching up with the National Christian Democrats in terms of moving towards the left. Now, historically, the CSU has dominated Bavarian state politics. This is the largest state in Germany, and it's also probably the most conservative state of the former West German states. Now, in the last election, the Frei or free voters, and the AfD both got about 10 or 11% each. And that took the CSU down a peg. Now, FW, the free voters, is also a non-establishment party that's basically conservative. It's a little bit confusing exactly what they are, but essentially the party exists in a bunch of different German states, but they're all independent of each other. And part of the point of the party is that they focus on local issues in the local community rather than national issues and being beholden to a party with a national agenda. So essentially, it's more or less a non-establishment conservative party that's outside of the uniparty power structure that focuses on local issues. And Bavaria has been by far where they've been most successful. I think the only other state where they've elected people is in the last election in Rhineland-Palatinate. So after the last election, the CSU and the Free Voters formed a coalition together. And in the lead up to this election, the media launched a major attack on the head of the Free Voters. Hubert Aiwanger is the head of the Bavarian Free Voters Party. He's also the deputy minister president of Bavaria right now as the junior coalition partner of the CSU. He's also the head of the National Association of Independent Free Voter Parties. At any rate, the media came out with this story that when he was 17 years old, he may or may not have been involved with the making and passing out of a pamphlet that had a crude joke about Jewish people. And even if he didn't have anything to do with it, his brother might have been the one that made it and passed it out, and he would have known about it, allegedly, and therefore he's guilty by association. And so they basically waited till a few weeks before the election to launch this big attack. And I mean, it was very obvious. They probably sat on this story for years waiting for the optimal time to launch it. And basically, he said, I don't remember this alleged pamphlet. This is what they wanted to happen. Angela Merkel, the notorious leader of the Christian Democrats, has instituted a very hardline cordon sanitaire around the AfD. Not only is no CDU members ever to coalition with any AfD members, they're not even supposed to collaborate or negotiate or even talk to them. If AfD members and CDU members vote the same way in for a certain piece of legislation, it's supposed to be pure coincidence and not the result of any kind of coordination between the two parties. Essentially, the media wanted to get the CSU to mega cuck and agree to expand the cordon sanitaire around the free voters. And the CSU basically stood their ground and refused. So as you can see, the Green Party, the Social Democrats, the FDP, they all did terrible. Die Linke also did terrible. And the AfD and the Free voters combined got over 30%. So that's over 30% for non-establishment conservative parties. And the CSU has already announced that they're going to continue their coalition with the Free voters, which was completely expected. Once again, the results are very embarrassing to the current government of Germany, and the AfD, which has been a major party in the former East German states for quite a while now, is finally establishing itself as a serious party in the former West German states as well. All right, thanks for watching this video. Click the like button, post a comment below, tell me what you think about all this, and please support me on Subscribestar or Patreon, and you can subscribe to my backup channels on Odyssey, BitChute, and Twitter. Links in the description below. And click the subscribe button. New video every few days.